Have you ever considered moving out into the country and just saying forget it all and buying some land and living on a homestead with your family? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly why buying land might be the best thing you can do. Now, how's it going, guys? This is the Hopeful Homestead, and in this series of videos I like to call Coffee Talk. I sit out in my little tiny cabin on wheels, drinking some coffee with you guys, talking to all the husbands and dads out there about all things fatherhood, faith, and freedom related. Here in today's video, we're talking about buying land and why it might just be the most important thing you could do for your family. So, you're sitting there on your computer, you're sitting in your little suburban house, maybe in an apartment in the city, and you feel that pull. Believe me, I've been there too, where you feel that desire to just go and forget the whole hustle and bustle of life, head out to the countryside and just live that picturesque life that you see in the movies and hear about in storybooks, where you and your family are living on your own, living off the land and enjoying life. I think there's a reason that appeals to so many of us. I think it's embedded in our nature, and it's a God-given desire to be more connected with what He created and living a lifestyle that reflects that more. And step one to being able to do any of that is buying some land. So, as a husband and a dad, what can you do more for your family than buy a significant piece of land? Build a house on it and be able to have enough land to be able to grow some crops, maybe raise some farm animals, and truly be able to live. I mean, you could really go all out and live completely off your land and have as minimal bills as possible. And then think about 2020, everything that happened in 2020. If that's not enough reason to not want to rely on the systems that are in place, I don't know what is. I know, looking back now, if I was living on a homestead with all of my own farm animals and fresh fruit growing and vegetables in the garden, COVID would have felt like nothing. You would have been like, what's going on? I don't even know. I'm just living my life. Heck, if you raise chickens and have the ability to have some cow milk and beef from cattle on your property, it doesn't matter what happens in the world with food supply chains, you could be the source for your family and for your close friends, providing eggs and chicken meat and beef, and you could be able to provide a lot for your loved ones. And then really, if you get a good piece of land, talking 20 plus, 30, 40, 50 plus acres, you could, in theory, be able to, if crap hit the fan for real, you could have some of your close family friends move into your property with you and have space for them to be able to do that. Be able to build additional structures and be able to have additional homes, shelters, places for people to live if stuff really went south in the world. Having a lot of land is the way to escape it. Having enough land that's bumping up to true rural countryside and forests where you have protein sources wandering onto your property, and deer and wild boar and all kinds of stuff that can just wander on, and you can hunt. You could be able to literally live off of your land. And don't get me wrong, you don't need to have 50 acres to be able to do that. Here we've got 21 acres on what we're calling the Hopeful Homestead, and we're going to be building a whole farmhouse and guest house and barn, garage, putting an acre pond in the back that we're going to stock full of fish. And our whole property backs up to a 22,000 acre wildlife preserve that's got all kinds of wildlife wandering onto our property all the time. We picked this specifically for all of those things. But don't get me wrong, you could find a little 5-acre plot of land and have that be in a rural area where you still got wildlife, that you could hunt. But mainly, 5 acres is plenty of space. Heck, 2 or 3 acres is plenty of space to be able to actually have some farm animals, some smaller farm animals. You could have goats and chickens and smaller animals that allow you to be able to have meat sources, have milk sources, produce eggs, and you could have still plenty of space for gardening and crops to be grown, fruit. So it doesn't take much. You can do that with a lot less land than you think. But just remember, when purchasing that land, when starting from scratch, you can't change that. That's the one thing you can't change. So in our mind, we thought, no matter what we end up being able to afford to do or what's possible to do through trying to build custom homes and all that, if we just pick the right land, which we feel we did here with this 20-acre property here in South Florida, we're really excited because we know that this land's big enough to get lost on, to feel like you're just disappearing and not even seeing the outside world. And that's such an awesome thought to be able to have your kids just roaming free, barefoot and crazy and wild, and just living life to the fullest. All of that is accessed by buying some land. Oh man, that's my recommendation for you guys. And once you find the right piece of property, don't hesitate. take the plunge, buy that land, and no matter how long it takes to be able to build a house on it, at least you've got the land. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. Again, my name is Chad, and this has been the Hopeful Homestead here on another episode of Coffee Talk. I appreciate you being here. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.